Well, good evening, everybody. I thought I was going to be able to hold off on my rants, but I can't. Must be part in my blood or something. But there's a couple of things that the national news just hasn't covered worth a goddamn, and they probably never will. And I'm not going to be raving about Israel tonight or about the Argoon or the Stern Gang. But recently, you've heard a lot about this pipeline coming down from Canada, and the pipeline will be if it goes through, they'll be transporting this sand oil down to Houston. And the problem is that if they do, that none of this oil, because of the nature of it, will ever be used in this country. So when the Republicans bitch and moan about the pipeline, about that it's going to help us become less dependent on foreign oil, they're full of shit. They're lying. They know they're lying, and they just continue to lie. What's going to happen is this stuff will be piped down to Houston and refined and shipped because it's ideal for diesel, and some of it may not even be refined here. It might be refined in Europe, and it's going to be all shipped over to Europe because it's ideal for diesel automobiles, not diesel trucks. And we don't use diesel automobiles or hardly have any in this country, and they have a great deal of them in Europe because of the price. Diesels usually was used to be and still is just a hair cheaper than petrol. So it's going to be piped down from Canada to Houston and then shipped. Now, if it's refined in Houston, then shipped, or whether it's just shipped from Houston, neither way will the American public ever see a dollar of taxes from this because it's considered a foreign sale, and all the oil companies will make billions of dollars, and all you've done is given up 20,000 creeks and rivers to the possibility of an oil spill. Now, to make it even more interesting, that the local legislature in, I forget whether it was Nebraska or North Dakota, that they were bought and sold by the oil companies, and they turned over the right of eminent domain to this pipeline company. So this pipeline can literally come into your property in the West, and they can tell you we're coming through here, and then we will determine what we think a decent price is for your property, and you can't stop us because the legislature passed this. Well, the people finally found out about it. They went up in arms, and that part is going to be rescinded, and they'll pass a law that says that pipeline can't even go through Nebraska or through North Dakota. Uh, I mean, it's just criminal with these people, how these politicians can be bought and they can slip something in like that, hoping that nobody pays any attention until it's too late. Now, the people that are going to work on the pipeline, they say, oh, it's going to create 20,000 jobs. It's not going to create any jobs because these are very specialized jobs. And these people that make these pipelines do nothing but make pipelines. So whether they're making them in Canada or they're making them in the U.S. or they're making them overseas, some other place, that these jobs are already there. This company does nothing but make pipelines, so they're not going to hire your local help, and not a cent of money is going to be spent there, except they might spend a week in your neighborhood and go down and buy some groceries, but that's it. This is a boondoggle. This is a red herring, and this thing will the Republicans will push it like crazy in the fall, saying Obama's interfering with our security because this was going to help us become more independent from foreign oil. It's not. This is foreign oil, and it stays foreign oil. And the oil companies stand to make billions, and the taxpayers won't get a nickel for any of that oil flowing through that pipeline, except if there's a massive cleanup and it does a lot of damage, then of course the oil companies aren't going to pay the complete damage, and you'll have to live with the damage. So eminent domain, which I'm not a fan of anyway, uh, maybe for a school or maybe for an absolute essential road, as long as these people have to be perfectly and justly compensated. But eminent domain has never been on my top of my list. I can tell you that. Now, secondly, when we're hearing about all this fracking and all these earthquakes that are taking place near places that are fracking. Now, Cheney, when he was in office, he saw that a rider went through on a bill that forgives all fracking people from ever paying any compensation for any damage they do. Any fracking in this country is totally free of any liability. When the hell did you ever hear any business is free of liability? I mean, what these Republicans have done to us is just incredible, and they keep doing it to us and doing it to us and doing it to us. How the fuck any of these guys get elected? If the people ever knew the truth, well, probably the Democrats, none of them would get reelected. And then the third thing is they passed a bill today that that allows protesters to be arrested if they're on property or in the presence of politicians, and they feel that it's interfering with the politicians' speech or anything like that. That protesters can be arrested. They can be arrested now for protesting in front of the White House. They can be arrested for protesting in front of the Capitol. This bill passed 97-3 or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. And why did it pass? Because these politicians are all scared to death that every time they go out to a place to give a speech, that there's going to be people hollering the truth at them and not putting up with their lies. Now there goes the First Amendment right the fuck out the window. Now we already saw the Fourth Amendment go, and we saw the 14th Amendment go. So within the breadth of 3 months this year so far, and not even 3 months, 2 months and a day, we've seen the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments thrown right out the window. Now, people always ask me, if and what would you do? You know, name three people that you would that if you could eliminate, just wish them a heart attack and they'd drop dead, and it would be in the best interest of this country. What three people would you pick? And I always pick Scalia, Thomas, and Roberts, because they threaten the Constitution more than anybody in the history of this country, and they're going to continue to do it. And you watch, if some one of the liberal judges or any judge happens to die or something happens to them between now and the election, that these Republicans will protest and protest and stall till the next election, and we'll see a vacancy on the court until after November. This it's just absolutely a shame what people have allowed to happen. So now we've lost the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments. I don't know what one they're going to go after next, but this eminent domain thing is crazy. The fact that people can frack and do damage, unbelievable damage, to the environment and to the water system, and no one has any recourse. They can't even take them to any court in this country because the law said that. That law has to be overturned. That law should be found unconstitutional. And this new thing about eminent domain is very frightful. How in the world can you turn over the right of eminent domain to a company? Jesus. I mean, it boggles the minds. And now they want to be able to arrest you. Well, I'll tell you, the only way to beat this latest law about being arrested, if you're in the presence and causing a commotion with a politician, is for 1,000,000 people to end up on the White House ground, for 1,000,000 people to end up on the Capitol steps and holler and be arrested. So the jails are so full of people that they have nowhere else to put them. And to convince this Congress to wake the fuck up and for once represent what's in the best interest of this people and to stand up for our Constitution. This is what is happening to us is unbelievable, and you will only see it on the internet, because I always get 20 times a day I get interrupted that there's an email, there's something new coming out, and these stories aren't being told in the national news, and if they are told, they're told once, and that's it. You never see them again. So let's keep informing each other. You learn something, you hear something, by all means get on the net and let everybody know about it. So have a good night and get on that fossil. Thank you.